Community Information Show, here with your host, as I said before, Lady Leo. I want to thank those of you who are already listening. If you've got anything that you want to find out about in relation to voting, you can text that in. The telephone number is 07944 431 366. That's 07944 431 366. But whilst our guests are easing their way in, we're still waiting for one more to arrive, and I want to give you a little bit of community news that is out about in the community coming in for you. There's a shop that we've been asked to support in terms of its threat of closure, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that shop as well, so that you can go out and support that shop. Just to give you a date for your diary, this is something I am supporting, which is the 19th of May 2018 from 9:30 to 11 o'clock. We have the Man's Den. The Man's Den, as in MANDEN, Man Den. The Man's Den is a forum for fathers or for men and young boys. Could be your own son, it could be your nephew, it could be your godchild, or a favourite child that you are helping to support and bring up in the community. It's for you to come together with other men to do board games. It's a place where you can be doing things like bonding and things like that. So the address for that is, oh dear, again, the address for that is, I'm trying to open this up, and you know when I said to you, when people said it is for some odd reason it's not opening, but you know, let me tell you, it's like I said, 9:30 to 11 o'clock at the Epic Centre, 41 West Street, Leytonstone, E11 4LJ. That's the Epic Centre, 41 West Street, Leytonstone, London, E11 4LJ. So if you've got a favourite board game that you might want to go down and take down there to play with other young boys and their fathers, and or the adult males there, you know, you can do that as well. That's going to be on the 19th of May 2011. It's a forum for men and young boys to get together and do, you know, bond together. All right. Also, we got on where is it? There's something I was really wanting to tell you, but for some odd reason I can't seem to locate it straight away. But don't worry. Another date for your diary, we've got the Yoruba Art Festival. That's the 9th annual Yoruba Arts Festival. That's in London, Saturday the 21st to the 22nd of July 2018. This is going to be at Clissold Park, all the way down there in Clissold Park in Green Lanes, Hackney, London. Oh, it doesn't even put the postcode. Some of these people make me laugh the way they do their leaflets, you know, so essential information. But it's, as I said, Clissold Park, Green Lanes, around near the N4 area, roughly around there, N4, N16, one of the two. From 12 to 9 o'clock, it's a free entry. So you have lots of cultural performances, arts and crafts, fashion, African market, and various other things, competition. So if that's something you want to do, get out and join the African family, you can do so. So put the date in your diary. That's going to be the 21st to the 22nd of July 2018. And also, if you want to, you might want to book a stall, so you can phone the organisers. For those of you who have wares and you would like to sell them, this telephone number is 07399 333 all these threes, 07399 333 Yeah, this feels like you have to put your teeth in for that one, isn't it? Yeah, food and drink, DJs and live music will also be down there. You can go onto their website, which is www.yorubaarts.com. Okay, so that's something else, a date for your diary. Once again, for those of you who's just tuned on, this is the Community Information Show with your host, Lady Leo. And another bit of information here is it says here, this message goes out to the community. All right, so if you're listening, it's to you. It says, black-owned businessman Tony, who has fought to take over and run H. Braggin's carpet shop, the council's landlord is giving him problems, right? So what he's asking for you to do is we need your support, and we need to support him and to keep his business alive, and for as long as possible. It's got here. So he's based in South London, Clapham Junction, and they've got Battersea. So I'm going to give you the full address of this. It says H. Braggins was established in 1952. Oh, long time. Oh, 1952, long time. It's a carpet vinyl rugs store. Sorry. And they do flooring, expert fitting and estimates. The address is 291. So those of you who's based down there, we're not expecting people from maybe Hackney or Tottenham or all them places to travel all the way down there to get their carpet. You can if you want to, but you make sure you've sorted out your own delivery, because that's going to cost you a lot of money. But those of you in the area, you can always go and support this local business. It's 291 Lavender Hill, Battersea, London, SW11 1LP. Okay, so that's 291 Lavender Hill, Battersea, London, SW11 1LP. All right, so that's H. Braggins. Okay, established in 1952. It's a carpet, vinyl, rugs, contact flooring and expert fitting with estimates. All right, their telephone number is 0207 228 3613. That's 0207 288 3613. What we're going to do now is that we're going to play one of our tunes, and as I said to you, today's show we're going to be looking at politics. So I've selected a couple of tunes. Oops. I don't know why it came. I'm there talking to you now, and it just, this record's trying to fast up itself and come to you before I'm ready to press the button. Anyway, we've selected some tunes to do with politics, and that is going to be the theme of our show today. And it's because we've got the voting next week, and very often people are not quite sure what to do, how to do it, or who to vote for. So we're going to have a little discussion about that. It's not going to be a party political recruitment drive. It's just going to be a bland discussion about voting. Yes, if that makes any sense. And you know, we could look at why black people don't vote and things like that. So here's a tune, Politics, and this is by the man Jamali.
Be wise, O kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the people, lest be the angry and ye perish from their wings. Politics, so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? Only the youth, them in the ghetto, them a suffer. So rotten. Till you smell the stench of their dirty skin. Man and man made it to enemies for the sake of a nation. The hunger. Hey, who stand to gain from the fleecing of our economy? Politics, so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? Only the youth, them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Politics, so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? Only the people, them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Yes, politics will never change. Never change. Big politicians, it's a game. So bitter, so many misled. We're tired of their manipulation. While they take advantage, we're caught in the chain reaction. It's the politics of change, abusing the poor man's brain. So blood thunder, the system is a blood sucker. Politics, so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? Only the youth, them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Politics, so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? Only the people, them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Show them love, let them all show us love. They've got no love, so let them all show us love. was love so rotten? Till you smell the stench of their dirty scan. Man and man made it to enemies for the sake of partition. Who pays the strain? Who bears the hunger? Who stand to gain from the fleecing of our economy? Politics so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? All the youth them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Politics so rotten. My people, have you forgotten that it is so bitter? All the youth them in the ghetto, them a suffer. Politics, them a miss, them a miss. Hear this, on the list, I them wish, oh Lord. Them a miss, it's a trick, it's not fit, doesn't fit. Politics, running a risk, oh Lord. Cause politics will never change, never change. Dictations in a game, it's a game. Politics will never change.
Greetings, we're back. Oh, I thought something was funny. Oh, my ears are cold. Anyway, there we go. Yes, we're back after that tune. That, as I said before, that tune is called Politics by Jamali, and I thought that one was quite useful given the topics that we're going to be discussing. We're here so far with two lovely people, okay, who are going to be representing the masses of people. Hopefully, we're going to say gonna be because we're going to speak positively. They're running for candidacy. Is it candidacy or it counts as councillors in next week's local elections? And the first person we've got is Andrew Reid, getting him mixed up with his brother, Andrew Reid.
Evening.
And we've also got Margaret Greer.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, and they're going to tell you a little bit about where they're what areas they're from, and what inspired them to run the next week. What inspired?
Yes, my name is Andrew Reid. I'm the only prospective candidate for the St Anne's ward. That's in Tottenham.
The only one?
The only independent running.
Okay.
So I'm running against Labour, Conservative, Green Party,
Whoa.
and Liberal. And I'm the only independent candidate.
Okay.
So there is 3 votes. I'm looking for 2,000 votes in my ward, St Anne's ward.
Mm-hmm.
And what inspired me? I suppose I'm fed up, basically.
Yes.
I'm fed up of voting the same way and getting the same results. Mm-hmm. So this year, I'm asking people to do something slightly different this year in terms of a local person getting involved at a local level in what's going on with our council. Because we, as the people, they're not listening to us no more. They're going above our heads, go directly to the council people elected and not coming and consulting the people on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a little bit of an example of that a little bit later on.
Okay. Thank you. Margaret?
Yeah, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on your programme. Well, I'm standing in the Lower Edmonton ward as a Labour councillor. And basically what has inspired me, I've been inspired to be a community activist all my life, really. My kind of background is that I'm a trade union activist. I'm a national officer for one of the main big trade unions. Prior to that, I was a branch secretary in one of the major big local authorities in West London. I was born and raised in Hackney. I now live in the London Borough of Enfield, which I have done from since 1998. And what's inspired me is that my community needs yet another advocate to be raising our voices. I believe that I have all the attributes to be able to do that and to also be able to articulate and challenge And, you know, some of the issues that have been going on this week, it's even more vitally important that we are represented in the places that make decisions. So I have all due respect for Andrew's position and what he's saying, and I'm hoping that we can have a really good debate and discussion around why it's important for our black people to vote, whichever they vote, if it's independent, conservative, Labour, or whatever, then that's, you know, it's about getting us in the political arena and start looking at how we can change. And I don't really go with the philosophy of our vote doesn't count or that we are forgotten people, because at the end of the day, we need to be, because we have built, you know, so much has been built on our backs as well. So that's why I'm standing, and I believe that that is important to do and be a reflection on the community that I'm serving.
Yeah. I forgot to say welcome to Bless FM to both of you, Bless Radio. So welcome Margaret and welcome Andrew. Sorry about that. I don't normally miss my manners, you know what I mean?
Can I do one thing before we start? Can I just say a big shout out to John Nobleman? Yes. And he put me in touch with Jan, and I said to John that I will give him a big shout out. So hello, John, and I'm here.
Yes, that's good. That's good. So, what areas have you focused on the areas that you want to be covering when you get in? Shall I say? Let's speak positive. When you get in, what areas would you be covering, with Andrew?
Yes, I did my research a little bit different before I got to my pledges. What I did is to go around doing surveys, and going around doing my surveys, I started to find out, ask people what their top 5 local issues are. From doing that, I've done a couple of hundred or so in the ward, so I've got a general idea, and I've come up with my 7 pledges to the St. Anne's ward.
Okay, which one?
I'm not making any promises. The only promise I'm going to make is that I'm going to work fearlessly and tirelessly for the local people in my ward. Yeah, that's the only promise.
Okay.
Real. Right, but I'm going to fight for more after school care.
Okay.
To help parents in work.
Yeah.
In my area, St. Anne's ward, there's no youth provision. That has to change.
No
youth provision in St. Anne's ward. That is crazy. And if this young lady was from Tottenham Labour, I would have been asking her a question: why can't we have the lease for that building in Chestnuts Community Centre, which has been begging for the last 3-4 years? And if we had that lease, we probably would have some youth provision in there and probably have saved some lives. So, Harringay Labour, pull your finger out. In our area, I find that we have a lot of people on different backgrounds, different skills. So what I want to do is introduce more ESOL drama, ESOL places in the ward. I know that my Kurdish Centre does some there, so that will be the first place I can assign and post people to. But we need a little bit more, and we need to give them the skills to succeed as well. I'm going to address gun and knife crime, but we need to look at other means and methods of what has worked outside of our local area, like what happened in Glasgow, what's happened in Portugal, where they decriminalised drugs completely. You know, in Glasgow they dealt with the issue of the gangs and the amount of crime and so forth as a health problem, where all the statutory agents came together. So if it's one estate, you get social workers, you get community leaders, you get the local police involved to have this meeting about this particular one estate and maybe whatever the issues are. So it was dealt with, not just one person. A holistic approach was taken to it. In my area, I noticed that for businesses, coming from the research, there's no loading and unloading for businesses.
That's true, yes.
Why can't Harringay put a few loading and unloading bays to allow business to run in South Tottenham? Why? It can't cost that much, especially when they're willing to spend £50,000 of our money to get the people out of Chestnuts Community Centre. That's something we'll probably go about a bit later. Of course, I want a clean and safe environment. In our Haringey, we need to prioritize the area where it's more dirtiest. We need to prioritize that. We need to spend probably less time in Highgate and more time in Tottenham, where it's more dirty, and prioritize there and give extra focus on that area. And the last thing is accountability. Most of the local representatives are accountable to the party or the party whip.
Okay.
Yeah? The only person I'm going to be accountable is to my community, the St. Anne's Ward.
Right.
That's
Okay.
it. Right? That is me. And that is my 7 pledges to the St. Anne's Ward, Tottenham.
Can I just ask, how has your pledges been received by the community? Because obviously by now you've been telling people that those are the pledges.
Just getting them out.
Okay.
They're coming out. You'll see them on Facebook at the moment. I've got my leaflets coming out tomorrow. There'll be 5,000 going out in the area. And so far, the things that I've got, because I've done it from the ground upwards, people are supporting what I'm doing.
That's good.
They're supporting me because they see that I'm taking the time out to do the research, knock their door and find out what their local issues are, rather than the other way around, where they've been told what the issues are, and normally 9 out of 10 times they're not really the true issues of the local people. So I'm doing things a little bit different this year, and I'm asking people in the St. Anne's Ward to vote for somebody local and make a change. Make a change this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Over to Margaret.
yeah. Well, I've been canvassing in terms of the local area, and actually gathering a number of ideas and information that people have been telling me about what their Birmingham issues are. So, you know, one of the areas is around fly tipping and how we actually deal with that, and some of the kind of levels of rubbish and you know, antisocial behaviour that's actually taking place. So a number of projects that I want to kind of look at. I think Andrew's already mentioned it, but I do think we need to have some kind of community focus on knife crime and what's going on with our young people. And I wouldn't just say young men, I say our young people, because it's impacting on our young girls as well. Right. And that it's not just being led by kind of like a police community element. It has to be the wider community, and that involves all of even local businesses, churches, some community centres. Our Turkish area has got a high population of Turkish and Kurdish residents. I think if I'm elected next week, I'll be 1 out of 63 councillors who will be from a Caribbean African background, which is something that we need to be looking at as well. One of my other focus will be on education. I think we need to be ensuring that our young kids are getting a place at any school and every school that they actually apply for. And if that's not the case, then we need to be asking questions. Obviously, I recognise that central government have a role to play in terms of monies and being able to build new schools. Because at the moment, I think the directive is that it comes through the government in the, I think it was 2014 Act. That it's only academy schools that can be built now. So that's a real problem. And also I think social housing, when people say about affordable, it's actually social housing. I always truly believe that people say we aspire, and we aspire to be many things. Some people aspire to own their own property and be able to pass it on, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was brought up on a council estate. I feel very proud to have been brought up on a council estate. Yes, I might have been fortunate to have been able to buy a property, but I also respect and see people who live in council properties or are paying rent, social rent, that they should be as valued as anybody else who is actually, you know, living in a property. Right. I don't think anyone should be feeling that they're not as worthy or fulfilling of my voice. So that's something that I want to promote. I think people have the opportunity to be whatever they want to be. It might sound a bit idealistic, but you know, at the end of the day, I've seen my community grow. I've seen people actually integrate with each other, you know, mix and talk and do things, and then at some point they're not talking to each other, and we need to actually understand that. I don't think Brexit has helped, and I'm not going to go into that political element. We've seen, you know, in terms of the hostile environment, and I just think we need to now be really raising our voices and saying enough is enough. And I don't take excuses from people to say that I'm not going to get involved, I'm going to withdraw. You don't have the option of withdrawing. Our forefathers didn't have the option of withdrawing when they were brought into enslavement. They couldn't say, I refuse. If they did, then they were treated in a particular way. So, no, we have a responsibility for the next generation, the generation that allowed me to be on your radio station, sitting and debating with Andrew and the community at large.
Yeah. Sorry, you was just talking. There's something that went into my mind, and I should have really written it down because it's totally gone out. But in terms of our people, like we know that our people are shy away from voting, or not even shy away. Some are very adamant that's got nothing to do with them. What can we do to encourage people to take part in this voting process? Because you know what I think about? I think about our foreparents who fought to have a say, who fought to be heard, who fought for change. And then we've come along, our generation now, and we're not interested. Now, I have heard people say, you know, my mum's in her 80s, my mum's in her 90s, and that she's been voting religiously, yet look what's happening. But I think it's maybe we haven't been voting strategically, which is the main thing. You know, just putting your tick there because it's Conservative, Labour or whoever, or even Independent, isn't the way forward. We need to do things strategically, and I think that we need to get our people in every party. You know what I mean? So that it's a united voice. I mean, what do you think to that? Is it rubbish? Is it true? Is it what?
Yes, you're absolutely right, Lady Leo. For many, many years, we've been what we call the sleeping giant in terms of our vote. You know? I watched a video the other day of why don't black people vote.
Oh, did you come? Yeah, that's right. Yes, you was on the bill. Yeah, that's right. On the 17th of April, we had a session called "Why Don't Black People Vote?" Yes, and thanks goes out to Richard Nix.
Okay.
No, Rashid Nix.
Rashid Nix. And a lot of people seem to be disillusioned. They believe that the system is not for them. It's not working for them. So if it's not working for them, why should they get involved? But the truth of the matter is, to change something, you've got to be in it.
That's right.
It's hard to change things from the outside. It's very hard to change things. Not that it's impossible. Not that it's not impossible. But for me, I need to be on the inside this time. Yeah, I want to be on the inside. I want to be on the negotiating table, and I want to see where our local resources are going to.
Yes.
You have to. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. You have to be involved to make the change. If you're saying that it's not actually working for you, or people disillusioned, and I see that all the time in the line of work that I do. I see it in my daily working life when I was a social worker, and now as a national officer working for the union, and in terms of employment. And I hear that, but you know, if I didn't continue trying to inspire and uplift those that are coming after me, then what would we do? Then where would we be? I mean, I can't advocate and say about getting involved in other political organisations and whatever else, because their values and morals may not be the same as mine. I can actually stand with my head held high and say that yes, the Labour values and morals that I want to kind of like pursue are what I actually am looking at now in terms of the leader that we actually have. But I would also look at what other political parties are doing and what message they're actually giving in terms of raising up people who might want to go to other parties. I'm not going to ever say to them, don't actually do that, because you have to search your own conscience when you're doing it. What I'm saying is that we need to be able to make any change, we need to be involved. There is no excuse with that. And if you want to negate yourself from that, then that's fine. But then we can't have a dialogue, because I won't be able to get through to you. I need to go on to the next chapter, because there are other people that actually want me to be able to do that for them. And that's what I hope to actually bring into the council, is that a new vision, a new type of direction, and thinking out of the box.
That's so correct. You know, it's funny because I would say, this is my thoughts. I mean, I don't go to a lot of political meetings, but I do look at the fact that we need to look at politics differently. And most recently, it's just been coming more to me that, one, as I said before, we need to vote strategically. But a lot of the decisions are made inside the parties, okay? Now, if our people are not there to advocate for us, when it comes to the voting day, of course nothing's going to happen. And I think that's why our people are getting delusions, because all the negotiating, all the things that are set in stone. Remember, by the time they come to us for consultation or whatever, everything's already set in stone, and it's just an exercise to say we've had this dialogue, but everything's already sorted. So, but we need to be on, like you said, on the inside. So people are shouting and rooting for us on the inside, you know. And it's no point you just putting one person in the forum, because when they all come together and start discussing, you know, if that one little person is going to get lynched. Do you understand? No matter how big their voice is, no matter how powerful they are, one voice is not enough. So I think that we should have more than one people in all the parties, so that when they do come around the table, there's a big voice.
But you've got to actually hope that they're on the same kind of page, because at the end of the day, people are there for various reasons.
That's right.
There are some politicians who are actors who are wanting to, aspiring to be actors, and there are actors who are aspiring to be politicians. Do you know what I mean?
It's true, yeah.
You've got to know that the people that you're bringing with you, that you're raising up, are actually going to be doing and advocating for you. That when they get in there, they're not going to pull away the ladder and say, okay, I'm all right, now I'm going to be moving on. And that's very hard to do. So when you have like-minded people that come together, then it's important that you keep that dialogue going. And it's all about trust. But what people need to understand is that every 4 years, you have an opportunity to make the change.
That's right.
Because every 4 years, that individual who has come to you to ask you to cross and, you know, to put a vote for them, they have to be accountable to you. You know, we should be having monthly surgeries to bring in our community, to be talking to them about what is going on. I can't advocate for somebody if I haven't had the opportunity and the time to go and speak to them and to knock on their door. So all of this door knocking that people are doing between now and next week, or have been doing for the several months, I will be doing that after if I am elected, because I want people to see me as a visible councillor, not someone who comes every 3 years or every 2 years asking for a vote. And that's what has disillusioned people as well, is that people only come and ask when there is a time to vote. And we need to change that mindset. There are lots of people who are in the organisation who are doing good things, but we don't hear about that because we're not engaging with them, because we have a perception about them and what they're doing, but we haven't asked. I mean, I'll go on to what's happened this week, but obviously I want Andrew to come in. But if what has happened...
You mean this week or last week?
Last week. Okay. What has happened over the past couple of weeks? If it has not... Yes, I'm talking about I'm talking about the 70 years supposed to be a celebration of our people coming to this country.
And you're not going to be able to celebrate.
And we will, because if no one is moved into action to want to do something and to actually have their voices heard for our elders, then I don't know what is going to make them. You know, at the end of the day, we cannot allow certain elements to go on. And that generation is almost like the pillar.
That's right.
Of society. They worked hard, they played hard, they done things proper, and then they want to be treating them as if they're not worthy of respect.
That's right.
Well, it is down to us to say and demand they are worthy of every respect. They do not have to claim their citizenships. They are the foundation of the United Kingdom.
In saying that, both of you, and I know you want to say something, but in terms of the elders, both of you gave me your areas that you're going to be focusing on. Did any of you have elders on it?
I did. I went on to something else what I was going to say about social
because those are the two. I think the government's got us sewn up. All what's happening in the world, in England right now, is all by design. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, we was running up and down with our young people, stabbing, killing, running to all these meetings. 2 weeks later, it's our elders. So where have we got time to think and be strategic? We're worrying about our elders. We're worrying about our children. They're keeping us busy with the wrong things. Come on.
That was a question I asked to the hustings that was outside of my ward.
The hustings, what does that mean?
A husting is where all the councillors come together for that area, for that ward, and they all have an opportunity to ask them questions and so forth. And Start had a hustings, was it last week Friday? I think on the Friday before. and they're vying for the St Anne's Hospital. One thing they forgot to do was to invite me.
Oh, the sickle cell group.
No,
sorry.
no, it's not that. The START is an organisation that's looking to take over and redevelop the St Anne's Hospital.
Okay.
They're looking to put 800 homes there. Yeah, they had the hustings, which was outside the ward, and they they forgot to invite me, but I soon put that right because they didn't know who they're dealing with.
Okay.
So I put that right. So we had a little moral victory there. But their first question they asked me was, would we as councillors support their application for redevelopment of St Anne's? And I thought, wait a minute, why are you asking me directly? You haven't even seemed to have done not enough concentration in the area to ask me that.
And they didn't invite you either.
Right. So on the basis of that, they've taken the people in St Anne's Ward, as far as I'm concerned, for granted, because there's 60% of the people that I try to encourage, which is more closer to the St Anne's Hospital side, to take part and vote. Because last year only a third of the people voted, 63%, 66% didn't vote, and that's quite a high turnout.
It is.
Right. So let's stop this minority controlling the masses. Yeah. The people are the ones that are in control. They're the ones that have the power. So let you come out and take.
What's the point?
Just for the point I just wanted to make about LDP. They're doing 800 new homes. So I said to them, look, it's a hospital ground. Have you thought about residential care homes? No, they haven't even thought. I thought, all right then, how about respite care homes for people? No. Okay, all right then, okay. All right then, have you done any impact on the local services?
Impact assessments.
They start stuttering. So again, they just,
Well,
all they're
think about the
interested,
elders.
But also as well,
they're interested, they just want to go straight to the top, straight to the councillors, as long as they got their vote, because they were normally Labour majority, just think, oh yeah, we'll go straight to the council, because everyone's going to vote Labour. The council is going to vote, support me, and there is a done deal. And this is normally, this is Haringey. I know on the Elmfield, but this is Haringey. This is see how it's done all the time. They go and make the decision, then at the last minute, they just ask for a little bit of consulting, but they know they've already got it in the bag.
That's right. Set in
Right?
stone.
Same thing when we on Lawrence Road, and just after the riots, I walked into a ward meeting, and they're already set up with their plans and this and that. And I thought, hold on a minute, when did this go out to tender to anybody else? You know, what kind of dealings are they dealing with?
Underhanded.
You know, they're bringing in all these private contractors to do work. We can't even get our local people employed. Things got to change. It has to change. If we don't change, we're still going to get the same thing year in and year on. Has to change now.
Okay. Margaret, you was going to say something?
no, I think I was just, I mean, obviously Andrew's talking about things that are going on within his particular area and stuff, so I wouldn't be able to kind of comment on that. All I know is that there are ways and hows that you're supposed to be doing certain planning. I know that people may not be happy about certain elements, but you have to be able to be in there to be asking questions. Right. I know that for me, I will be able to ask any particular question that needs to be asked, and I would also expect to get an answer. Because if you're not bringing the community along with you, and I would agree social housing needs to also include the percentage of people who are local residents to be able to take up those. I think it's a great idea in terms of what you've actually said about residential homes, in terms of that, because that is something that is going to be needed, because our population is getting older, and they're staying and they're living longer, and you know, even though we're working and whatever else. So yeah, we need to be looking at those provisions, but I will always go back to, we can only be looking at those provisions if we're in there telling people actually what we want.
That's right.
And not leaving it to the small minority at the very top who have no understanding possibly about the community that they're serving. And if they do, then they would, you know, they need to have people in there that are advocating. So the masses and the people really don't know the power that they hold, and that what they should be using in terms of casting the vote. And, you know, I always remind myself that when you cast the X, that's how they used to let you do that when you were enslaved.
That's right.
So you need to cast that X with empowerment to know that you are making some kind of change. And that's what I'll be hoping that people will be doing next week for me. if and when they put a cross in the box against my name.
Okay.
You let them know that they've got 3 ticks.
Yes, I wanted to discuss that.
You
Because,
mentioned
yes.
it earlier. Yes.
'Cause
3 ticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 3 ticks, right? You can vote for 3 different people. The thing is, you do not have to use all 3 votes. You can just use 1, 2, or 3. You don't have to use all 3. But your option is, if it's correct, Margaret, yes, you can use all 3, or you can just use 1.
Everybody has the opportunity to use their free vote. Some people may use it for one particular block vote for the same particular political party. Others may use it to vote for different people in terms of, like, you know, the independent, green, whatever else. But yeah, people have the option of 3 votes per person in terms of when they go into
Did
the
you say
booth.
they can use the 3 votes to vote for the same person?
No,
You
they
don't
can
do
use
that.
the
That
3
might-
votes to vote in a block for people who are from the same party.
Okay.
So you might have a candidate that is from, say for instance, in my ward, there's 3 Labour councillors. Obviously, I would hope that people would vote for the 3 Labour councillors, which
Okay.
will include myself.
Okay.
Others may not wish to do that, but yeah, you have 3 votes, which is
Oh,
I
I'm
think
doing
the first
that.
time for the very
Right.
first time that's the
Right.
case.
Me now, I'm saying you got the 3 votes, and I only want you to vote 1 vote. 1 tick in the box,
For you.
independent. 1 tick, forget the other 2. 1 tick, vote Andrew Reid, 3rd of May. That's all I request for
So
this change.
what I would encourage people to do, even myself, because I don't even know who my people are, but I'm saying this to all of you listening, the leaflets are coming through our door. Just find 5 or 10 minutes to just go through them and see what the people are doing. It may be too late at the moment to go to their meetings or surgeries, but at least read the leaflets to give yourself some understanding. And you mentioned something about even if you got elected, you would like to see regular surgeries, maybe twice a month, bi-monthly or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say whether we get elected or not, yeah, we need to be running. You know, like the sorry that I didn't invite you to the. I didn't know of you then. The why don't black people vote event.
Right.
Okay.
But we
Okay.
need to do more things like that
Yes.
because our people are so politically illiterate, I would say, that we need to really get an understanding of what politics is actually about and the voting process. Because, like I said, I remember back in the 90s, I was all up there voting all the time, 80s and 90s. And then in the 2000s, I hardly voted. And when it was the last election, I went to vote and my name weren't even on the register because it had slipped
really?
off because I hadn't voted for such a long time.
Okay.
So I had to
Register.
re-register. You
Yeah.
see, because I was saying to myself last time, I was getting back into the politics thing. So I said, yes, I must cast my vote. And we must relook at this differently. But that's another thing for some of you. You may not even realise that you're not even on the register anymore because you haven't voted for a long time.
And it's too late.
But yes, it is definitely too late because I was telling you it was the 17th of April,
Yeah.
and that has gone. But you know what? Doesn't matter. I would say to you, go and register anyway because at least you'll be early for the next time there's time to vote. You see? So don't think that's the be all and end all. Still do it because you never know when they're going to call a local election again. Is it every 4 years?
Every 4 years.
yeah.
4 years. You
Yeah.
never know. They might do something. Sometimes they do things outside of the box.
There's also by-elections that take place when people step down or people
That's
retire or unfortunately somebody maybe pass away. So there are always opportunities for people
That's
to cast
right.
their votes and step in.
So if you haven't voted and you're upset if you haven't registered and you're upset that you missed it, still go and register. Don't worry.
Right, how are we going to communicate? That's with the electorate and the constituents.
Okay, that's a good question because I didn't have that one here. But go on, you
you
tell
don't
us.
have that question
No,
there?
no. Because I'm not politically minded.
Right, well, one of my 2 things is communicate, engage, and inspire. One of the 3 things. On the communication side, I'm going to have an e-newsletter. I'm going to
Okay.
start with doing the basics well first. So let's communicate with the constituents first through our quarterly e-newsletter. So that at least they give the constituents a little bit of a chance to get involved.
So where's that e-letter?
An e-newsletter, you're going to go straight to like an email or straight to your phone. Yeah, you'll
Yeah, but not everybody gives their number. I don't give nobody my number.
or there might be a website, but
I
they're
think
gonna be
website, yeah,
or
so they can book
email
them.
or something. But we're not gonna be cut off. I'm not just
Okay,
gonna go
yeah,
to
I
a
hear what
meeting
you're
and
saying.
just
Sorry, I
be
don't mean to put a
blank.
damper on it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're gonna be some form of feedback.
Mm.
Quarterly newsletter, either to a website that you can log into or to
Yeah.
your email. You've got social media. Let's start using the technology to communicate. So that's the first thing. Once we communicate with them, you've got the information now to get engaged. Now.
But it's like this radio station, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a community radio station that people are tuning in all the time, and I'm hoping that more and more people will continue to tune in and sending it out to friends and family. They'll be tuning in because they know that I was coming and that we were going to be having a debate, which is great in terms of that. But I also think we need to think about different ways. I think you're right in terms of e-communication. I think social network is a
Gotta get the communication
big
out.
tool to be able to use. But then we also have to think about those who don't have computers,
elders
those who don't use
those
social
disabilities.
media. We can't miss out a whole chunk of people just because they're not involved in so-called 21st century. We have to be strategic across the board, because the biggest population, I think, in terms of black people who do vote are the elders. So if the elders are going to be going out and voting, we need to be able to be communicating with them, that they can then be communicating with their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, all of those things that actually enable us to have that kind of that enable us to have that communication across the board. And when I say that I'm going to have surgeries, I speak to my community all the time. You've got to do it in a way that it's flexible, and so it's rotating. So you're not going to just have a meeting at 7 o'clock when people are sitting down and I'll be, Emmerdale, Carnation Street, or something else that people are wanting to get involved in and don't want to come out of their house. You have a meeting in the morning so the elders can come out early and get back home. You have a meeting in the afternoon, but you make it so it's convenient for them. Kids who are leaving school, you make it a bit more earlier. You put on maybe you put on something, a little whatever, so that they can actually feel, when I'm coming to this place, and I know that my counsellor is going to put on something, that at least I can give my little one something to eat while I have a discussion with them. Or you have a one-to-one. You make yourself available and visible and approachable, and people will then realise and start to want to get involved. I truly believe that.
I wonder, Margaret, if you've been reading my notes, because that is...
Yeah, she's clever.
Yeah, but she's exactly right. We've got to just do things different. That's what I plan to do, as you say. Have surgeries different places, different times, different people. You just have to move around. It can't just be in the same place, the same community hall every two times a month, I think it is. You could be out there a little bit more visible. That's going to be me. I think Margaret's there.
And go to some kind of community events as well.
Absolutely.
That are on.
Even try and put them on yourself.
Yeah.
We used to do that all the time back in the day. You go down to Hackney Downs, you go down to Clifford Park, Finsbury Park, because that was my area. Like I said, I was born in Hackney. And you had those community events. It was free. People came together, and now we don't hardly do that. We had a different type of community, but I'm not saying the community isn't still there. It's just the community are not engaging in the way that we need to, and they need to have someone that's going to be engaging with them. That first step is the most important step, to say, you know what, we can do this.
And we can.
And we can, and we're supposed to say, and we will.
We can and we will.
Yeah. You know what? That was one of the things on my list. It says, "Are we going to put in any political forums?" So yeah.
Well, I'm going to make sure that at Chestnuts Community Park, that annually we have a barbecue fun day. This will be an extension of what I'm doing already, because I already do it every year on my mother's estate, on the Suffolk Road estate. Every year we get together, collect donation.
You have a
I didn't tell
street
you.
party.
Now you're
Are
gonna
you
get me a
are you aware how long I've known you?
I
I think I've known you since 1999, if I'm not mistaken.
Can I just say it's for Suffolk Road residents?
Okay, let you off.
I wanted to, friend, but I'll tell you what. This year we're gonna invite you, because what we do, as you say, we go around as a little. There's a few of us together. We go around and get a little donation. get the barbecue together, get a bouncy castle in there, a bit of face painting and play with little games. Get different everyone
So
to
people
come
can
out.
see you. People can, yeah.
People come out, but I would like to do that on a bigger scale in the park. You know, I know the council always run about security and stewarding and all of that, but sometimes it's too much. You know,
But not only
This-
that,
the
we've
main
got a lot of stewards in our own community, so you can get to know them and see people who's got SIA badges.
Yes,
Rope them in.
that's right. That's all we need. And you know, if we parents are out, then we're looking at and we bring our children out. Who's controlling them? Isn't it? Not the parents, isn't it? Not necessarily stewards and police and everybody else. We bring them.
But I think to fit within the remit or the boundary, it would be good to have some.
that we given up, they give up, and they turn elsewhere. So
That's right. We need to
we can't
put
give
things on
up.
for
So
our
we've
young
got to
people.
keep going, keep
We've gotta have-
pushing,
yeah.
and keeping trying to engage them. You know, engage all of the community.
Well, you have to. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like we always used to say, you know, you brought them here. Do you know what I mean? You've given them life and you've given them birth. We can't just turn our cheek and turn our mind away because things are happening. There's something fundamentally going on in our community that we need to really start to understand and start discussing where we go with regards to that. And I don't think it's about the adults telling the children what they need to be doing. I think it's the young people saying to us what it is that they need. Because when we were growing up, I remember I used to say certain things when we would say, oh, you think I was born this size? You know, we understand that kind of language, so we must understand that the kids are going through a number of things and we need to tap into where the values of community and parenting has potentially been lost in our communities. Are parents out with their children socialising, or they're out with their children socialising but continuing with the discipline? Because when people say, oh, you know, the law and everything else took away our discipline and we couldn't do this, that's an excuse. You learn ways.
Yes, that's right.
They're your
That's
child.
right.
They're your children. You know, you instill certain elements from a very young age. I've seen it. I still see it, even in my nephews and nieces now. You instill that kind of respect and element. And I'm not saying about deep discipline in a particular way. You instill that
That's
love
right.
and respect, and it's different. And people will say, oh, well, you know, you've got your peers and you're influenced by the social media. I hear that. So if that is the case, then we need to be on that social media,
that's right.
seeing what they're looking at, hearing what they're hearing, and trying to understand the pressures that they're under. Our young people are suffering extreme stress and probably mental anguish that we don't actually understand.
Yes.
This
agree with
retaliation
you.
that is going on, right, is not just a cheap thing that is happening here. Our children are crying out for guidance and support, and this tough element that they act like, that's not tough, because
That's
when
right.
they're behind some kind of a on remand, you'll see the true
baby in
value
them.
of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah? So we need to be able to do that. How we do that is step by step by step, because there are a lot of things that are going on, and some people say that it doesn't seem like it's working. It is working, because if you save one child, that means that you've saved a multitude, because that child could have gone on to influence someone
That's
else.
right.
Because carrying a knife or whatever, there is a choice about that, but using it is another choice, and it could be that split second. So
That's
I
right.
will never give up on my young people, like I will never give
We're
up
not
on my community.
that's right. We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to.
And my quote, what I used to say is, it's not our job to toughen our children up to face a cruel and heartless world. It's our job to raise children who will make the world a little less cruel and heartless. And
Well
that's what we
done.
need to hold on to.
That's a good quote, you know. One of the things I didn't mention to both of you, that April, you might have seen it in the text, April for me is also the month that I'm celebrating the family. So I was going to ask you both for a statement, a quote, a word to do with the family, and I love that one. I like it, so I'm going to have to add it to my list.
That's fine.
You didn't-
Take that. I'm an April baby. It was my birthday in April, so
Oh,
hello.
congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you.
Belated, and on behalf of Bless FM, a happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Margaret, you mentioned some of the young people needing guidance and support, and again, we agree and we agree
Well,
here.
we're not here to disagree.
But
We're just here to
agree.
debate, aren't we?
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's all
Agree,
what the brothers
agree.
say.
Working with our young people, as you know, me and my brother run a drama group called the Blackout Production Theatre. We're based at the Brennan Grant Centre. We teach 8 to 16-year-olds. But we had the opportunity to work with exclusion and use drama as a tool to give them some soft written and oral skills. So we went up in the exclusion centre. We're a little bit disappointed really because 90% of them were black, and I can't understand why, since we're only about 5% of the population and we've got 90% of the youth in the pupil referral unit as black.
Yeah. That's across the board, mate.
What I found working with them, they were bawling out for structure. They were bawling and crying out for structure. They didn't really want to be told, oh, you can do anything. Yeah, they want some sort of guidelines. So that was one of the things. One of the key things that I saw.
You want a purpose, don't you? You want an outcome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You want a tangible outcome. Young people or people in education or wherever else, when you're doing something, you don't want to just be saying, okay, well, at least I did it. You want to see if there's a tangible outcome.
That's
because you
right.
want to see if your talents can actually move to be able to do something else. It's really important that when we're guiding and we're talking about young people, that whatever it is that they're doing, even if we can't see the kind of vision that they see, it's excellent. Well done.
Well, yeah,
You praise them. You give them that kind of encouragement. I remember you say, when you thought I wasn't looking, you put it up on the fridge, you put it up on the wall. You make them know that you're proud, as they are, of bringing that home to you. We don't dismiss them when they want to ask a question and say, because I said so. If they ask you a question, it's mean that they're thirsting for knowledge. They want to understand, well, what does that mean? How do I do this? No matter what age it might be. And that's what we need to think about as well as adults. We are stressed out because we're working 24/7 or we're trying to make ends meet. But when our children are asking for information, they are striving and they are thirsty. And we do not have the right to be saying, go and sit down, I'm watching this. Sit down, I'm doing this. We have a responsibility because we have brought them and they are relying on us to guide them. It's not like the lion and the cub, and once they get their feet, they're gone. They are ours forever, even as big as we stand.
It's the structure. The other thing that they were asking for is to know about their history. When we talked about their history, black history, they were very, very quiet.
Of course, they've not heard it.
Very, very quiet.
And engaging as well.
I was really, really shocked. If anything that got them quiet, to sit down in the class for at least 15, 20 minutes. Know thyself. It was beautiful to see. Yeah. And we stayed there for 3 years. But again, when you're working and you're successful doing these things, somehow the organization says somehow something, we're redeveloping something, you no longer fit the criteria again. And
but that's why you have to think about, and I think you're right, I think when you learn about, and I know Black History Month, and people say, oh, it shouldn't be a month, I share
we
that
taught all the time, right through the year,
every month. But when you do hear about it and you do understand your history and the richness of it, the empowerment that I've seen in young people, and just people knowing, oh, I didn't know that, and that we didn't start from just Windrush, we didn't start from slavery, we actually were the kings and queens, and people might find it just blasé, but we actually were. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I also think that when we're running businesses and when we're looking to actually invest, that we don't just regurgitate it in the kind of system, we start investing it in our own places. So we're not renting it out somebody else's place. We're actually looking to build and find our place.
That's right.
That we tie up together, that we have people that come together that actually invest. So you put 10%, you put 5%.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's that trust element that we need to engage in, that we need to be actually believing and not saying, oh no, I'm not really going to think about going with that person because I don't really trust them. You don't know them.
You need to ask them. A slave mentality, because that's what they put in us.
We need to be truthful to ourselves and have that open discussion that we cannot rely on other people to do things for us.
That's right.
And if you've got something, and I hear what you're saying about the school that you have, you invest in a building, you invest in a home.
That's right.
You bring it to your home. If they're not going to give you a building, you bring it to your home. Where there's a will, there is a way.
That's right.
And it
I
was-
always believe that.
Yeah. And obviously, moving on from the exclusion centre I worked in, you get the youth offending team. I don't know if you had much experience of working youth offending in Enfield, but what I find is that they keep having the same projects day
Over and over
over
again.
and over again, you know. And it's normally white middle class companies working with councils to deliver projects to what?
To
When the
our
kids
children.
are our children, it should be the other way around, you know, the other way around. So we'll be all in favour of encouraging local people to start coming in on this level, the youth offender team, and getting to it, dealing with the crux of the matter of the young person and what the issues are, you know. They can't relate to this middle class white man or white female up there. They can't relate to
We
them.
can't even say act our children.
So it's better that you have people on the ground that they can relate to, yeah, and they'll be able to take on, see their issues. But it's not. This is important because a lot of the time, especially in Harringay, when I saw come out of the exclusion, I worked in the youth offender team. I saw the kids move from exclusion to the youth offending team. Right? They're
It's
doing
part
the
of the
same
pipeline from
same thing every year with the projects. They've got to change. So if we want something different, these little areas where our young people are and they're having problems, we need to be there. That's why I'm working with Find Your Voice and Doug to set up a family support group where we're going to have advisors there, myself, and we'll be able to represent, and we're going to have a legal team there as well, social workers that can be counsellors that can come in at the right levels, because dealing with this thing we have to have intervention and prevention.
That's right.
Well, that's why you have to have more, and people say, oh, you know, whether it's true or not, but if we don't have communities in our community on school governing boards to actually know
That's
what is
another
actually
area,
taking
yes.
place, you know, overrepresentation is across the board. It's not anything new. So our communities need to understand that if you're not in the game, then you can't actually play whatever is going on, and you need to actually understand the structures of what is actually going up against you.
That's right.
With regards to that. So, you know, I was a social worker in my previous profession, and so I've seen it across the board in terms of where we, you know, integrate and do various things, but it can only change if people are actually engaging.
That's right.
As well. And we do have to ask those questions. Why is there an overrepresentation in the school system when actually we're making up 5% of the school workforce? And once you start to get to the crux of it, it's not that the child isn't actually able to learn and stuff. It's just that they're so talented that they're actually so far ahead.
That's
and the
right.
questions that they're asking is because they've learnt that before they've even got into the school. So we have to question our teachers.
That's
But
right.
you can only do that when you're going up and having that dialogue with them, because your investment in them will be the next generation, that they will become the
That's
head
right.
teacher
That's right.
of that school. So, you know, there are different. I'm not saying we have the answers, and it's probably going to take us another lifetime. But we have to ensure that our
You have to
children,
start it. You have to start
yeah,
it.
are actually able to carry on. Because you and me sitting here, and
We're just a
a
start.
Lady Leo, and even, you know, in terms of the room, we wouldn't have been able to do some of this if we actually didn't know somebody that knew somebody that would be able to change.
That's right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so the times are hard, and they've been hard for several years. Investment, money, austerity, cuts, you know, institutionalised racism. We've celebrated 25 years of Stephen Lawrence's murder and the legal system having to change and the way that happened. But we have to start somewhere.
That's right.
And we have to continue, because we have to truly believe that the colour of our skin is not going to determine our life chances and our opportunities in the world.
That's correct.
I know people are out there probably thinking, oh, there you go, we can... Trust
No,
me.
listen,
it's
and
going,
yeah.
you know, you cannot give up. You give up on yourself and your dreams, and you then forfeit.
That's right.
Because when you leave and you are in your last days or whatever it is, right, let there be no excuses, no explanations, and no regrets. Because you have one life,
That's right.
one time, one chance. And when opportunities come, you need to take
it.
them.
Grab it.
And when we're encouraging people to come out and vote, that's the main thing of our
Absolutely.
this
You have
evening. We're coming out today.
You have
we
an
want to come
opportunity
out,
to make London
make a change.
something different than what you want. And even if you don't believe in that, read up and know and understand how history has changed. Who would have ever thought that Barack Obama would have been the president of the United States for
But he was there
seasons?
he was there only to get into Africa.
No, but, well, we can beg to differ. I'm just saying, in terms of the history
put him
and the
there for a
political
reason.
history, we have to believe that in our lifetime we will see a black person walking up the streets of Downing Street and going into number 10. And that will be one of our days of independence.
That's right.
We have to believe that.
Hopefully, if they do the right thing.
You got to do the
They
right
do the
thing,
right
and
thing.
they
Do the
will.
right
I
thing,
believe they
yeah,
will
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
I believe they will
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
I'm confident. I'm confident they will come out.
So, like I said before, the main thing that you have to do is read up on those leaflets. Don't just vote for anybody. Read up on the leaflets. Don't just vote for someone because they're conservative and you always vote conservative. Don't vote for Labour because you always vote Labour. Don't vote independent because you always vote independent. Don't vote Green Party because you always vote for Green Party. Read up because you know the people have put down what they say they're going to do. And if they get in, you hold them accountable to what they say they were going to do. That's why you're voting.
Lady
Remember,
Leo,
as I
I'll go
said,
even
you've got
one
to
step
be
further.
you got to be strategic with your vote. Yeah.
I'll go one step
Go on.
further. There's a number normally on these leaflets. Take 5 minutes and phone the number. Speak to the local person that's the prospective candidate.
Yes.
That's my numbers on my flyers. Well, I get a few calls asking me what I hope to do, and I got a few emails. It's nice to see. But some people hide behind the party. You're not hiding behind the party. You got your number out there. You're telling people your number. That's great, lovely. Same with me. You know, pick up, got the leaflet as you said. There's a number on there.
Yes.
Give it a call and speak to the person that you're going to put that tick to.
And also, you can ask them: are they going to be doing anything? Not just on Thursday, but even beyond 30. Is there any meetings that you can attend? You know, because that way you get to see and hear and see how they stutter when they're talking to you, and see if they know what they're talking about when they're talking. Yeah, these are all signs that we need to be aware of.
I think you need to be mindful of that, because obviously the elections are taking place, and that, you know, you won't know whether you're in and start. You can't forward plan too much because you may not get elected. So even if you've got things that you're thinking about, you've got to wait to be able to see that.
Yeah.
And even if you're not elected, if you've got some other things that you're wanting to do, then you can start doing all of that
that's
as well.
true.
So we do have to be mindful of how we actually do a number of things. But
of course.
the message has to be, if you want that change, you have to go and make
That's
that
right.
change and mark your cross.
And remember, nobody's going to make the change for you. Yeah, you have to get up and do it. Don't watch what people are doing. Don't expect another community to help you out. You know, we've got a voice. I think you said the sleeping giant or something.
Sleeping giants. Yes.
We're sleeping giants. So we need to get back to where we were. Remember, and I'm going to put it in now because it's nice to talk about this wonderful, powerful man, Marcus Garvey. He said, "We won't know ourselves until our back is against the wall." Now, I'm sure that our back is so pressed against the wall and the next person's on top of me and I can't breathe. So, you know, our back must be against the wall now. Come on.
Well, we're trying. Me
Come
and Margaret's
on.
here we're trying to push ourselves or get off that wall now. We're trying.
You know,
we're
we
pushing
must
ourselves.
know ourselves now. We must.
Well,
Because
you
if it isn't now, when is it?
I always used
Can
to
it get any worse?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It can, but
I mean, Muhammad Ali used to be up against them ropes, and when he came out swinging.
That's right.
So,
you know,
yeah.
come on, people.
gotta-
Come on, and make a change. Make a change. Next week, Thursday, get up at some point from the telly, from the computer, from whatever you normally do. Stroll down to the local, your local
Polling
place,
station.
your polling station, and make sure you look at the letters. Because with mine now, I got my letter the day before yesterday, and 'cause remember I was telling you all that I've just had to re-register. And the polling station that normally I go to isn't even that. So make sure you read the letters properly, because there's been a lot of changes, and I'm not quite sure if they're using tactics on us for us not to be able to vote. But read your letters properly. You don't have to take your letter to the polling station, but if you do, it makes it a lot quicker, because other than that, you've got to find your name on the piece of paper. So take your letter so that you can save your own time, basically. That's what it is for you. Save your own time.
Yeah.
Anything else that we'd like to add?
Just, I think you've said that really in terms of that it's an important local election. They only come around every 4 years. That you know, the kind of program that you had previously before around why do black people not vote, and hopefully this and other engagements that are going on, and what Andrew's doing in his constituent ward, and what I'm doing and others as well, that people really recognise and understand that people really want to do the best for their communities, and that they need your help and your voice to be able to do that as well. And so, yeah, it's vitally important that people go out, and even if it's not for themselves to understand, but the next generation who can't actually cast a vote, who are under the age of 18, who are desperate to actually make some changes that the government didn't allow that vote for 16-year-olds to come in, because they sometimes have more knowledge and understanding than someone who's 36 or 46. So it's really important, I think, that people actually make that conscious decision and go out next Thursday.
And I also think, in saying what you just said, I was just thinking, if the young people were allowed to vote, I bet you the money they'd be up voting. Because they are so ready for change. They are ready, they are yearning for change, that they would get up and vote.
Even my own son, he wanted to vote in the last Brexit.
Yes.
And he couldn't vote. He was well disappointed. He told me which way he voted. I voted the same way.
That's good. That's good.
So, but yes, we've got to encourage people to come out. If you want to make something to change, the change is through your tick.
That's right.
That's where the real change is. Yeah, and the power is in the people.
And it doesn't stop there. Once you've cast that, then it's about making and holding whoever it is accountable for what they're going to do. And you cannot negate your responsibility from doing that.
And
you do not have a choice.
Yes. And always keep the leaflet, because when they say they didn't say they were going to do something, you can show them in black and white, or whatever colours their leaflets are.
But I think what people need to realise is that you've got to be realistic about what your goals might be, and it's not always going to be possible.
That's
because you'll be constrained by finances, and you'll be constrained by certain obstacles that will be put in your way. But if you try, and if you've tried, then at least you've made the effort, and you can say, at least I tried, and then the next time I will do it differently in a particular way. You've got to have that in trust, and you've got to tell people that actually I will do my very best, and if you do your very best, then no one can't question that.
And not only that, people might even want to help you financially to do the community things that you want to do.
Absolutely.
Because they know that you're committed, you know?
Yeah.
I would just like also to let people know, as an independent, I'm not alone. We have an independence group set up by the local government. It's called the Local Government Independent Group. So once I'm elected, I'll be a part of a group, a network of people who are other independents with a vast set of knowledge behind me. So in terms of thinking that I'm alone, no, I'm not alone. There's a woman from Devon, Claire Wright. She got 20,000.
I am here.
I'm not alone. So I have the independent local government independent group supporting me. They're based. You can Google them and see what they do and the services that they offer to independents. There's quite plenty. But I'm also supported by a legal team. So I am ready for action. Yeah, I'm not ready for talk. Yeah, some people are great talkers. I'm just ready for the action, dealing with people's cases and winning them, of course.
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to add? Okay, I'm going to go to my statement. I know you've given us a lovely, beautiful statement for the family. Can I hear something from you, Mr.
I didn't prepare. You didn't ask me for a statement.
You don't need to be prepared. You don't need to be prepared. What is family? You know, when I say family, what do you say? What do you hear?
I think about love. I think about unity. I think about strength. I think about helping one another.
That's right. Yeah.
I think about my mother and father as a family, because that's how I grew up. So those are the things that, for family, that what it means for me.
And why did you need to be? Why did you think you needed to be given advance warning to tell me all these lovely, beautiful things.
All these lovely things are all in my head and what everything that I
That's
know.
right. That's right. You know, because the family is important. As I said to you before, it's our first group or institution that we ever belong to. You know, before we go to nursery or anything, the family is there first. Whether it's your biological family, foster family, adopted family, that's there. So we need to be promoting the family at all times, you know, and finding positive statements to talk about the family as well, to bring us all together, because there's different families. There's your birth family. There's also your like, for instance, here on the radio station, we call ourselves a family. The DJs call themselves a family. There's your workplace family. There's also different kind of groups that you call your, you know, because not everybody at workplace, but you know, you might have one or two that you might go out to dinner with or whatever. You know, little families, family groups. You know,
it's not always blood related.
That's right. That's right.
You know, family can bring so many different things.
Yeah, it could be a church family as well. Anything, you know. So
and you need to hold on to that.
And be loyal.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I mean, family time was the most important time, and you know, that foundation of the family. And I'm not saying that it's lost. It's different types of ways that you deal with the family, but you have to have that time when you have that opportunity to talk, because those are the memories that you will take with you when they're gone or when you've gone, and various things. So yeah, I think it's a great theme that you've got, and that we should actually value the families that we have and the families that will come and pass.
But on Saturday, I am going to be on the panel, and with exactly what we're going to be talking about at the Find Your Voice
Oh yeah, I'm supposed
event.
to be there. I'm not on the panel, but I'm supposed to be
You're
there.
going to be there?
Yeah, I've got a store. The
Right.
Gold Onyx store will be there. So if you're looking for dolls, black dolls and things like that, we're going to be there. Sorry,
I'm sure you're going to give it a proper read out later on at the Parkview Academy on Saturday afternoon. We're going to be talking about family and prostate cancer, and what does it mean to people about the family. As I said, I'm working with Dougie, Find Your Voice, to set up a family support group. We're going to advise and have representatives there to support families going through their crisis. We're going to have counsellors there. We might even put on your service. He said, Margaret, he was a social... he works in social services.
I can't do that anymore.
Oh, you can't do that no more.
But you can give advice. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
we'll be putting on...
I don't know if you saw this WhatsApp that came around. I think it was yesterday, of a young woman. I think it's in America. A young woman who felt so overwhelmed. She was sitting outside her house saying she really needs support, you know. She was talking to her friend on Facebook, and the person who was also on Facebook was her children's father.
Right.
Okay, and she started to cry. She's got a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and she just feels that everything's left to her, in terms of, yes, she gets help now and then from him, but you know, where is my free time? Where is my break? She was saying. She was also saying things like, I don't want to, because she's so stressed out, she feels that there's times when she might harm her children, not out of spite, but just because, you know, she just can't cope anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what, the beautiful thing of that was, while she was talking, she was on there for quite some time, the father drove up and asked her, let me take the children. You know what I mean? And I thought that was so beautiful, and powerful, because there are times when, she said, women don't get a chance to say, I want a break now. But she goes, you have to think about the cooking, what they're going to wear, whereas men, even if you're living in the house, you don't take the lead role, you know, with the children.
Some of us do. Some of us do.
You know, the lead role. So, you know, I don't know why people felt that they need to share it, but I'm glad I saw it, because I didn't look at it as, what type of mother is this? I looked at it as, mothers do need support, you know, especially if they're on their own, you know. And like I said, when the brother turned around and said, I've got you, you know, and let me help you, you know, even if he did it for show, it doesn't matter. He did it. Do you understand? And I'm sure that his children valued it at that time.
I think there's a realisation of people now, and the responsibilities that we have. I think, you know, people get bad reps sometimes when they're doing some really great work and support in terms of the family, and that's both men and women. And I think we need to just value and appreciate what we can do when we can do it, and how we do it, and not always kind of be down on the down low with it. You know, at the end of the day, we make choices, and those choices will come back to you in whatever way they will. And so, yeah, probably that's another discussion for another time around that kind of, you know.
I just want to say hello to some ears that are listening. I want to big up Lady Polite. I want to say hi to Carl X. I want to say hi to Ringo Moses who are listening. Also Raggedy. I don't know what you're doing in Stratford, but you're saying that the reception is nice and clear down in Stratford. I'm going to speak to you about that because you didn't ask my permission to go out the area. So big up to all those of you who are listening, the silent listeners as well. I hope you found this discussion fruitful. I hope it's made you think about what you're going to be doing from now on in terms of politics. Because remember, even when you wake up and you wake up and you come out your house and you see that yellow line, yeah, that's all part of politics. All these things are political moves that they're making. And you're going to say to yourself, I didn't know that they were putting a yellow line out. Why can't they put a yellow line out some house? And the consultation happened long before, the discussions happened long before, behind closed doors, before the leaflet came to your house to ask you if you wanted it, you know. So please, embrace politics in a new way. Oh, see it through a new lens, they would say, new set of glasses. You know, politics is all around us. Politics is what is shaping what we do every day, you know. Political decisions made about schooling, political decisions made about the food that you're eating, political decisions made about a lot of things. So don't say politics is not for us. Politics most probably affects us more than anybody else. Do you understand? Yeah. So these are the thoughts that came into my mind, and I'm sharing it with you. And you can analyse it however you want. You might even come to the same conclusion. Politics is what is keeping us going, yeah? So do think of it like that, yeah?
Okay. No, excellent. Yeah.
Well, as you just said, we've got to have to break this cycle.
That's right.
We're gonna break this away.
Break the chains.
We're gonna break this cycle, especially me and Haringey and Labour. I'm gonna balance the myth that what independents can really do. Okay. I'm gonna show them really something different. So we're gonna break the cycle. If you want a little bit of change in St. Anne's, we've been a Labour majority from since I can remember. Since I can remember.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've always voted Labour just because I voted Labour.
Did you know any of the councillors' names?
This is the point I'm telling people. Did you know any of the councillors' names? We just voted Labour. No, right. Yeah, I voted Labour. And you know what I do? I just look at their faces and say, which one of these Labour people should I vote for? That's how I did it. You know, stupid, I know. Very stupid.
But
I've always been involved.
But this time we're asking them to look at the leaflet, see who it is, make the call to that person before they vote, and then take it from there. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna break this cycle, show what Haringey Labour, what independents can do. I'm supported, as I said, by a network. I have a legal team around me. I'm completely ready to take on the issues of the local people. I am 100% ready.
And I just want to thank you for inviting me down.
That's okay.
It's been a really, really interesting, and want to wish all the candidates out there that are going for positions. I also just want to send a shout out for the women out there. Strong women, may we know them, may we grow them, and may we continue to promote them.
Yeah.
As well.
And I also want to say another shout out. I know you said it earlier, to John Nobleman, who made the connection between myself and Margaret. And it's funny because Margaret went to the same school as me, but I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
She came into the studio. You know, so that's quite good.
Small world.
And also,
I want to say a quick thank you to my beautiful team, hard-working team that's been supported me over these quite few weeks. My family supported me as well. I had my niece, Camise, 6 years old, coming out helping me post leaflets. It's amazing. We had an amazing journey. I just want to personally thank
I'm going to jump into Andrew. I'm going to say I actually should thank my partner as well.
Yeah, he's here.
He's been an absolute rock to me, and some friends who have come from all over London, from South London to West London to North. They've come and they've canvassed with me and my CLP team and everyone. So it's been a tremendous effort across the board.
And thank you for inviting us, Leo.
That's okay. And anytime that, actually, you said you're going to be somewhere tomorrow. tell them fully where you're going to be. Is there anywhere you're going to be, Margaret, in the next couple of days that people might want to see what you look like?
I'm going to be canvassing actually for the next couple of days over the weekend, but I also am going to be at the Amnesty Windrush event that's taking place on Monday up at Parliament Square. It's going to be a debate. It's from 4:30 to 7, and I'll be on the platform speaking up there as well.
The Amnesty Windrush debate.
Yeah.
Well, tell them where Windrush, because there might be people thinking, oh, let me go.
It's going to be at the Parliament Square at the House of Commons. They're going to be debating, and we're going to be outside. No, you just come up to Parliament Square. The event's going to be starting from 4 until 7, and so we'll be up there, and I'll be on the stage at some point giving a talk about the Windrush debacle and fiasco and everything else that's going on with that.
Myself, as I said, mentioned earlier on, I will be at the Find Your Voice event at the Parkview Academy. I believe this is between 1 and 4:30 tomorrow. I'll be on the panel. We're talking about family and prostate cancer. So I'll be there if you want to come and meet me tomorrow. Sunday, I'll be at the Bernie Grant Centre in Tottenham at the Speakers Club.
Oh, yeah,
the Speakers Club. Now this is a special event for my group, because my group, the Black Arts Production Theatre, they use our actors to perform the question. Yeah, so to give a different element to the question that they're asking. It's basically a debate event, which gets us in the word of public speaking and so forth, and teaching us and training us to use our vocals very, very well. So that's never a good event. It's at the Bernie Grant Centre. It starts from 7 o'clock on Sunday.
I've got the leaflet for that.
Have you got the leaflet for that?
Yeah.
Give it a read out.
The Speakers Club presents Gender Politics, the coming of the Superwoman. So that you know they're going to be talking about me. So do come down. So that's the coming of the Superwoman. It says, are men becoming obsolete? Never. Sorry. Are men becoming obsolete? How can women find the source of their power? Yeah. Please tell me, Bill. Please tell me.
Wait, hold
anyway,
on. How's my brother going to act all that out?
I don't know, but the actors are good, you know. They know what they're doing.
All right, okay.
It says it's a live talk by Back Theatre. So as Andrew said, the actors are going to act this out, and then they normally leave it for the audience to ask questions or make comments and things like that. Then the panel people, they've also got something to say. So if you want to hear what I've got to say about the coming of a Superwoman, you can come down to the Bernie Grant Arts Centre, Town Hall Approach Road, London M15 4RX. This Sunday, the 29th of April 2018. For more information, you can phone 07497 069 702. That's 07497 069 702. We're also going to have a little presentation by Marvin Barrett.